What's up YouTube, I'm Otaku Gains, and as you may or may not know, I am currently training like Goku. Be sure to check out the other videos in the series if you haven't already. I'll link the playlist in the description below. But as a quick update for you guys before results day, training's going well. My knee's still not 100%, I'd say it's about 90, maybe 85%, which is a little bit annoying. It means that I'm not really able to go to class anymore just in case I make a wrong step and I aggravate the ligament any more than it already is. I'm still doing solo Muay Thai training, so I'm able to go at my own pace, but it's still not really the same. It also means that I'm not able to go as hard as I usually go on leg day. However, what I will say is I'm starting to increase the weights for my push days and my pull days. At the moment, going at the lower end of the 4 to 6 rep range, but once I get used to the increased weight, I'll start making my way up to reps of 6 again. However, that's not what I wanted to talk about in this specific video. What I wanted to do is create a new series mainly based around my Muay Thai journey, and in this video I'm hoping that it will serve two purposes. Number one, this series will allow me to give you an update on my progress in Muay Thai, what I've been up to, what new things I've learned, stuff like that. And secondly, for this video specifically as the first one of the series, I want to give you guys an idea of what it would be like if you were thinking of starting martial arts, whether it's Muay Thai or something else, and what kind of things you could expect from it. Of course, I'll be able to give you the perspective of someone that does Muay Thai, but I reckon most of the things I cover are easily translated across the different martial arts. What I will say is that if there's anybody that's watching this and they started martial arts recently, or even if they started martial arts ages ago and they're a veteran, if you guys would drop comments about what martial arts you're doing and what you experienced starting the martial arts, and what kind of things that people should have to expect. So if there's someone that's thinking of doing, for example, BJJ, and you do BJJ, they can come and see your comment or get a better idea of what I would be able to give them. But yeah, let's do this. Let's get those anime martial arts gains. Actually, thinking about it, I don't really think there's many people that do Muay Thai in anime. There's, what's his name, Apachai in History's Strongest Disciple, and then there's Gaolang, obviously, in Kengan Ashura and Kengan Omega. Actually, that's what I might call this series, to be honest. Training to become Gaolang. If you haven't watched Kengan, you're slacking. Make sure you do that. Actually, scratch that. Make sure you read it. But yeah, let's begin. I started Muay Thai in October 2020, which was just when the UK was coming out of its first lockdown. Everyone was outside again. There was restrictions, but everything was going well. And I remember coming out of that lockdown thinking, I want to do something new with my training. Obviously with the gyms closed, I got a chance to do different kinds of outdoor training and I loved it. I got into calisthenics and weighted calisthenics and different kinds of stuff. And I was like, I could do something different alongside going back to the gym. And I'd always wanted to do some kind of martial arts. I never really knew what I wanted to do, and when I was younger, I didn't really have the same kind of discipline that I do now. Like, I think I tried karate when I was like a young kid and I didn't take to it. But yeah, I was thinking, let me see what kind of martial arts are out there, go on the internet, look at the clubs, see what interests me and just go for it. So I probably spent like a couple weeks like just researching different martial arts, trying to get an idea of what I wanted to do. And I kept on coming back to Muay Thai. So I'd seen a few fights in my lifetime, and obviously I was a big fan of Kengan and I loved Gaolang. So I was like, you know what, this is a realistic martial arts that I could learn. It's pretty practical and it seems like it would be quite complex as well, which is what I love, to be honest. I love to be challenged. I'll complain the whole way, but I love being challenged. So I looked at different MMA gyms and finally I found my one, and I saw that they were having free taster classes where you could just come in, see what it's like, and then decide later if you wanted to actually commit to a membership. So I was like, you know what, let me sign up. Didn't really have much of a clue of what to expect, even though I'd seen fights and stuff like that, and I vaguely knew what Muay Thai was about. But researching it and actually practicing it are two very different things. So I had no clue what to expect when I came to the class. I didn't know if we were going to be doing sparring off the bat. I didn't know what the breakdown was going to be in terms of classes, whether I needed to pick a certain class, or what exactly we'd be learning from week to week. But yeah, it came in my shorts and t-shirt, was sure to follow the guidelines that the gym had outlined, especially not stepping on the mat with shoes on and not stepping outside of the mat without your shoes. That was something that they drilled into me on my first time. And to be honest, I think that's the kind of thing you'll see across different kinds of MMA gyms or dojos or what have you. Just, it's a respect thing. Like, you don't want to make your mats dirty, so you don't step on them with your shoes. You don't want to step off the mat barefooted where it's dirty and then bring that same dirt back onto the mat. But basically, we start the class. I meet my first Muay Thai coach that I ever had, and this is one of the most tiring sessions that I've ever done. Bear in mind, like, I consider myself to be quite physically fit. I've been going to the gym seriously and pretty consistently since August 2017, obviously not including COVID. Mainly started taking it seriously because I wanted to see how far I could go. Went from 82 kg up to 90 kg, and it was easy to tell that a lot of that was muscle, just because before then I hadn't really been training properly. I actually remember I was eating like 7 times a day. Like, it was ridiculously crazy. Like, it was the craziest bulk I've ever done. Obviously not including the one I'm doing now, which is much worse. But yeah, clearly to get to that level, I would have had to push myself really hard. I did crazy intense sessions. I trained with a wide range of people. I've done short half-an-hour sessions. I've done sessions as long as 3 3 hours in a group. Like, it's safe to say I was about that life. To be fair, obviously with lockdown, my gains went down. I wasn't really able to train as intensely as I was able to before. And I reckon for about half of lockdown, I wasn't really training as I should be. The second half, I got back into it, met up with friends, started going to the park, doing outdoor workouts, and getting back to that level of fitness. And the reason I'm telling you this is because at the end of that hour-long Muay Thai session, I was covered in sweat. And I don't really sweat that much when I'm training. Even when I'm running or doing some kind of cardio, there's a little bit of sweat, but not much. But my t-shirt was soaked. Sweat was pouring down my face. It was ridiculous. And I was taking these deep breaths like I'd been running for like 10 miles. And I remember after the session, everyone was getting ready to go. And I was thinking, oh, do I want to do this? It was quite good. It was a great session. I can learn a lot from this. And I remember this was the reason I decided to stay. One of the girls that goes there regularly, she saw that I was a newcomer and she asked me how it was. And I told her, yeah, it was pretty good. That was like a very intense session, I can't lie. Like, I'm out of breath, blah, blah, blah. And she gave me a weird look and I was like, oh, what's she gonna say? And she said, that was one of our easier sessions. And I'm telling you, from that moment, I was hooked. That was the caliber of training that I was gonna be doing, that I needed to be doing. Like I said before, I love testing myself in different circumstances and different kinds of training. And I knew the amount of endurance that I'd be able to get from training in this, and also finding a way to actually utilize all the power that I built up from bodybuilding and powerlifting and weight training and what have you. Not like I was an expert, but I was pretty strong. And don't get me wrong, like, I know how to fight, but not in a way as disciplined as this. But yeah, I got my membership, joined Muay Thai, and slowly started to progress and learn the different techniques, elbows, punches, knees, and kicks, which is what Muay Thai is all about. That's why it's called the martial arts of 8 limbs. Fast forward to November 2020, and the UK goes into its second lockdown. Annoying, the gyms close again, and I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? Luckily in my Muay Thai gym, continued doing classes on Zoom. It wasn't the easiest thing because my living room is really small and I don't really have that kind of space range to be able to do like kicks and stuff. So it was a bit of a challenge, I can't lie to you, but it was better than doing nothing. And also some of the guys that I'd met in the classes agreed to meet up every so often and do like practice sessions outdoors and stuff like that. Like, bear in mind, we were all beginners as well, so we didn't really know what we were doing, and we were like, yeah, we should spar. Big mistake. I remember the first time we met up for a sparring session, one of the guys had shin guards, I didn't, and we were going at each other, kicking at full pelt, well, not full pelt, but like, I'd say like 30 to 50% power. And if you imagine, the shin guard obviously protects your leg from getting damaged. I didn't have mine, so every time I was throwing a kick and he was blocking it with a check, that was damage to me, not so much damage to him. Every time he was throwing a kick and I was blocking it with a check, double damage on me. And for like months, my leg had like bruises and bumps all over it. It was crazy. From then on, we made sure we had shin guards and we made sure we went at a lower power range. But yeah, we managed to get like 2 or 3 sessions in over that month, which was cool. And to be fair, we didn't really know much, but we did learn a lot from fighting each other, because it's always good to get that kind of practical experience that we weren't really getting from the Zoom classes. So before Zoom, the basic setup of the class was that we'd warm up, we'd get the blood flowing, and then we'd pretty much always go into like groups of 2 or 3 and just practice with each other, doing like different drills and stuff like that. We'd have different kinds of pads and gloves and just practice with each other, or we'd go on heavy bags, etc. And then at the end, we'd do some kind of cool down. The Zoom classes were similar, but obviously because we were all in our houses, we were pretty much doing the drills by ourselves. And in a way, that was a lot tougher. Because if you think about it, if you're in pairs or threes, you get to take turns, so there's always that little bit of rest period where you're not actually throwing the punches and kicks. It's still tough to hold the pads for someone, but it's not that exhausting. But on the Zoom classes, it's just you going at full intensity, and it was definitely useful in improving our fitness even more than the usual classes, I would say. That was one benefit of the Zoom classes. But yeah, fast forward to December 2020, everything opens back up again, and it's business as usual. We're back in class, we're improving steadily, and then we go into lockdown again. And this one was a very long one. I think it lasted from the end of December or maybe the beginning of January up until mid-May. This was a crazy one, and my Muay Thai gym had the Zoom classes on again, but the layout of my living room had changed and there was literally no space for me to be able to practice. Couldn't really do it outside because I needed Wi-Fi. I actually had to say to them, I'm gonna have to freeze my account because I can't come to the class at all. There's no way for me to do them and actually get anything out of it, which was very annoying because my skills went drastically downhill. I didn't know it at the time, but obviously I wasn't really learning anything new. And the only real time I was able to actually practice Muay Thai was by myself. I was just doing solo stuff. And obviously you don't really know what you look like. So you're kind of doing the best that you can do, but it's not really hitting the same way. I did meet up with a few of the guys like once or twice in those 4 months, but we were all very busy. stuff was going on. We didn't really get to practice together as much as we did maybe in November. And I didn't really realize how much my skills had declined until I came back to classes. And yeah, it was terrible. Like, I was slacking, my kicks were sloppy, I wasn't opening my hips. Yeah, there was a lot of things wrong. That was definitely annoying. And I'd say if you want to get the most out of any martial arts that you're doing, you got to have that same conjunction of training at home as well as training in class. You kind of want to be able to do both at the same time. You want to train in class and then practice what you learn at class at home, bring it back to your class and see if you're doing well. And then you get that regular interaction, that regular improvement. That's one thing I will advise. Make sure you're putting in just as much as you're doing in class, outside class. So if you've got an hour session in class, you do an hour session at home if you're able to, or at a gym or wherever you're able to practice. Luckily for me, when I returned, the learning curve seemed to be a lot easier. I seemed to be progressing a lot faster. I was learning a lot more. I got to practice with different people in my class, people I'd never met before. I learned a lot from them. But then a lot of changes happened in my MMA gym. So one thing that happened was that my first coach left to start his own gym. So there was a bit of a transition period before we got our new coaches. And around that time, I actually injured my knee, the same knee that's actually injured now, to be honest. Yeah, I over-rotated on a kick and I didn't actually rotate my foot. So my body went this way and my knee just stayed where it was. It was not pretty. Not as bad as this injury right now, but yeah, I was out for like a few weeks to about a month. And yeah, obviously hindered my progress. But yeah, that's about the time where we got our new coaches. The training style was pretty similar, but also very different. Partly also because restrictions had come down, so our classes started to separate. Before, previously with the restrictions, the classes were a lot smaller and pretty much all the classes were mixed classes. When the new coaches came in, we had beginners classes, advanced classes, mixed classes, we had sparring classes, we had clinching, we had pads classes, and Muay Thai fitness, which is pain. To be honest, I need to start going back to that, but I'll do that after I finish the Training Like Goku series, because that is, wow, something else. But yeah, a lot more variety. Basic setup of the mixed classes were pretty much the same as the previous classes. We warm up, then we get into partner drills. The warm-ups were a lot different. So previously what we used to do was like a non-stop warm-up. We start off with like just general stuff like jumping jacks, running on the spot, rolling our shoulders forward, rolling our shoulders backwards. Then we go into the hundreds. And this is a non-stop thing. So you start off with 100 jump knees and everyone will be doing it at the same time. And there's one person that's counting. As soon as you get to 100, you drop down and you do 10 push-ups on the coach's count. That's to make sure like you're not going as fast as you can, to make sure it's over as quickly as possible and you're not going ridiculously slow that you can't catch up. And it's annoying because it's very much a mental thing. Because everyone's doing it at the same time, you kind of want to keep pace with everyone, which kind of means you have to make sure that your fitness is at that level. But anyway, after the first set of push-ups, you go straight into check kicks, 100 of those. 10 push-ups again, 100 teeps, 10 push-ups again, 50 repeat kicks on your left side, 50 repeat kicks on your right side, and then 20 push-ups, and then 30 sit-ups. And then you can get a drink and split off into partners and do drills and stuff like that. Now we kind of do something similar, but it's more based around shadow boxing for our warm-up. So I think we do like maybe 4 rounds of shadow boxing, maybe 5. And in between we'll do like 30 seconds to a minute of jump knees, teeps, check kicks, stuff like that. You kind of get the idea. Similar, but not similar. And then the setup for the partner work is pretty much the same. Like different coaches are going to teach in different ways, but the fundamentals of the martial arts are always going to be the same. So in the timeline, I think we're about a year ago. I think it's maybe like May, June 2021, if my math is correct. Training under the new coaches, things are going well. I feel like I'm progressing quite a lot. I've started doing the advanced classes. I'm learning a lot there. I'm getting beaten the hell up, definitely, but I'm learning a lot. And considering like I'm probably heavier and taller than maybe 80% of the class, but a lot of these guys are smaller, but they've been training a lot longer than I have. They've got a lot more skills than I do. Don't get me wrong, I could definitely hold my own, but it was definitely a challenge. And especially because I'm quite a bit heavier than these guys, I'm definitely much slower, which is my biggest struggle, especially when it comes to the roundhouse kicks. For my weight class, I'm probably not that slow, but compared to these guys, it'll be a walk in the park. And it continued like that for the next few months. Kept on getting better, rising up the ranks, improving, working on my technique, until around maybe September, October 2021, which is about a year after I started originally. And pretty much like work got crazy and I pretty much lost a lot of motivation to train. And the thing is, for me, I can maintain motivation pretty easily as long as I'm consistently going to the gym, consistently training. But if I don't go for like 2 weeks, you won't see me in the gym for a good few months. And that's exactly what happened. Because I got so busy with work, I wasn't able to go to the gym, missed like 2 weeks of training, and I was like, you know what, I'll go tomorrow. You know what, I'll go tomorrow. And it continued like that. And before I knew it, I was out of the gym for a while. To be honest, let me not lie, I was going like every so often, like once every 2 weeks or something like that, up until maybe end of November. Then I went away for Christmas with the family in December. Then I went away again for my birthday in January. So I was out of training for a while. I was definitely feeling it. I hadn't even been in the gym really, so my strength was completely gone. Yeah, that was long, I can't lie. And it got to the point where I was like, you know what, when I come back to the UK, I need to get back on it again. And to be honest, that's part of the reason why I started this channel as well. I wanted to keep myself honest. I wanted to make sure that I was consistently training, and I thought this would be a good way to do it and a good way to document my progress as well. Plus, it's fun. Training like Goku, training like different anime characters, what's not to love, and eating spectacular food. But yeah, got back from my holiday, started training at the gym again, started going to my MMA gym, saw my Muay Thai coach, and he was pretty much like, where the hell have you been? And I was just like, I've been away, man. And yeah, the pain began again. Training with intensity. So yeah, pretty much that leads me up until when I got injured again after I got kicked in my knee. Training had been going really well. I'd been in the classes quite often. I had been going quite regularly. I was going to 2 advanced classes a week and then 1 mixed class. Actually, I'm thinking of increasing the amount of classes I go to at some point, especially when my knee heals. And with all these different anime characters that we're going to be doing, there's going to be a lot of martial arts involved, so it would just be good to improve my skill in general. But yeah, that pretty much brings us to now. I must say, I love Muay Thai. I love training in it for the reason that I've said, a different way to train, a way to actually focus my power, learn discipline and control, and mainly because it's so difficult as well. That's the main thing I love about it, because it's not just brute force. I have to use my brain. I have to coordinate my different limbs, going from a knee into an elbow or from a punch into a kick. You have to work out the different distances. You have to try and anticipate what your opponent's going to be doing. There's a lot of moving parts and it's definitely difficult, but I love it so much. And for me, definitely one of the best decisions I've made in terms of training and fitness and stuff like that. And yeah, I know we've talked about it throughout this video, but I just want to give you a brief overview of the stuff that I talked about in terms of what to expect. So number 1, it's going to be tough. Like any martial arts you're going to do is going to be very difficult. And I'd say number 2, put in what you expect to get out of it. It depends, like people do martial arts for different reasons. Maybe it's self-defense, maybe it's just fitness, maybe you want to become a fighter. But you have to put that level of effort that you expect to get out from it. So if you want to be a fighter, you need to be practicing all the time. If you're just doing it for fitness, then fair enough, you may not have to practice outside of classes. You may just want to do the martial arts in class and you're set. And then everything in between as well. Number 3, this may not happen and I hope it doesn't happen, but injuries are par for the course when it comes to combat sports. Don't necessarily expect to come out of this unscathed. The level of injury obviously is going to vary, and like your coaches and the MMA gyms, if you're going to the right MMA gym, they're going to try and put measures in place to ensure that you don't get too injured, or they're going to put measures in place to reduce the risk of injury, but something can still happen, you never know. And lastly, expect to have fun. Like, it's not all about work. Like, you should be enjoying yourself when you're in these classes. Like, you're learning something new, it's a new skill, and you want to be able to have fun doing it. Like, the people should be cool, your coach should be cool. They may be strict, they may be firm, they may be trying to teach you discipline, but they should be relatively fun, otherwise what's the point? But yeah, that's that video done. I hope you enjoyed it. That is episode 1 of my Muay Thai journey, training to become Gaolang. Be sure to drop comments if you're currently doing martial arts, if you have any advice for people, whether it's BJJ, karate, anything, even if it's Muay Thai and you feel like I've missed something, or you've had a completely different experience to me, be sure to drop it in the comments below. And with that, I'm done. Cheers, guys.